Yeah. There'd be an urgency sometimes to the story. It would be moving, which is great because it keeps, like things are happening. But like just little weird NPC like hanging out, making like third party NPC relationships that weren't part of the main storyline. I guess there's also some like items and stuff I wanted to use that like I was always like waiting for the right time.
Yeah, same.
Like I had that item that was like reverse my traits. Like my highest would become my lowest, and my lowest would become my highest. I was holding on to it for like a really good moment. I thought maybe it would be like Gum Gum that is bad. If you could get like not Gum Gum's part, but like the intelligent perspective on it, which I thought might be a fun way to use it. So I don't know, little things like that, but I don't have any real debates or things I'm not happy with. I think I did figure out something that I would change because Kyborg goes on his own as a kid after he loses his family and is just like in the woods and training and all that stuff. And I did this, I built this into his character that he had like very low charisma and I think very low wisdom. He's just kind of an idiot that's out in the woods on his own. I wish I had explored that more from a character perspective because I feel like he was too still very socially adept. So I feel like I could have dumbed him down a bit and made him a little bit more like man out of time, like dummy. But I don't know. Well, this party definitely had no problems dumbing things down.
Speak for yourselves.
Collective intelligence and wisdom modifier bonus of probably plus two between all four players and two different stats. There was a follow-up question to that one as well for the DM. What's something you wish the cast had explored more of? Maybe naval battles. This was all submitted by HSQ. You have to get this. Something they explored more of. Just every now and then, like I kind of alluded to earlier, there's just like small moments where sometimes, for whatever reason, the players are in a different mood and they don't explore as much. I wish that they had mingled a little more on the grapple bug. I thought there were some really interesting characters there, and I think they ended up meeting most of them, if I remember right. But it could have also been very useful because I think having met them, they would have had more knowledge about where they were going and been able to connect things a little more quickly. Yeah, and they meet them later. So, yeah, I was thinking about in like White Winter, like that part, I started experimenting with a few different mechanics, and one of them was like downtime. So downtime activities happen typically between or something like that. So you did a lot of traveling and go hunt, and like they can gather stuff, and they can find woodland creatures and stuff. And like I think one of you was about to go out there, and then you get distracted by something. And okay, that works. But like just things like that. Or I started developing loot during that arc as well. Like if you kill any character, if you see them, they would have this kind of loot on them. And occasionally you guys would find stuff, and like other times it's just like, okay, I guess we'll save that for later. Yeah, we didn't really loot anybody that we killed or got with typically. They're down, and then on to the next thing, and then nothing. I think Gun Gun did. That was like a carryover from his previous character. It was like adding.
Altså, hallo? Hallo? Ja? Du satte opp hva? Når da? Ja, det er kanskje Anders som har satt den der. Ah. Ja, nå skal jeg får se, jeg har tenkt å gjøre ferdig kontrollen på Møller, hva heter det, Møller Jessheim. Jeg har testet detektoren og sånn der, men jeg må bare finne de forskjellige fasevaktene, og så må ha sånn sirenetest, eller klokketest. Det er ikke gjort der. Hva da? Den onsdagen nå. Skal vi se, der ble litt forandring. Da må jeg finne et sted å stoppe, kanskje. leker i hagen til noen. Nei, den er sikkert bare Anders som har. Den har jeg ikke avtalt. Å ja. Nei, jeg pleier å alle de tingene jeg har avtalt, så pleier jeg å skrive sendt mail eller avtalt, og så legger jeg til telefonnummer, for eksempel. For da har jeg kontroll på hva som ikke er gjort og sånn. Sånn at det ikke bare. Ja, skal vi se, onsdag. Skal vi se. Sofies gate, den skal jeg til i morgen. Så den kan jeg egentlig slette. Eller vent da, er det samme? Den satt oss på 2 dager. Vet. Ja, avlys. Ja, så Nils Juels gate 40, sa du? Å ja. Øh, det er litt vanskelig å si hvor lang tid jeg bruker på å bli ferdig på den der Møller. Hvilken da? Nei, den har jeg ikke avtalt, nei. Ok, ja. Nei. Så kan jeg trykke på. Ja. Ja, men jeg kan ja. Mm. Ja, da kan jeg ringe igjen og avtale det. Ja. Er det Prodex der har ja. Ja. Ja, men da kan jeg ringe hun med en gang. Mm. Den er jo. Ja, ha det. Hei sann, det er Erik fra Hedengren her. Hei, jeg ringer angående sånn årskontroll, det. Er det for tidlig for dere om jeg kommer på onsdag? Eller, eh, fredag, skal vi se. Ok, Mm. Skal vi se. Ja, jeg kan eventuelt flytte den ene avtalen jeg har på onsdag, nei, fredag til onsdag og torsdag, så burde det kanskje gå. Uh, det kan jo være hos dere, håper jeg, mellom 8:30-9, kommer an på hvor mye trafikk som er inn mot Oslo. Ah, ok. Når er du hjemme cirka da? Ok, ja, men det kan jeg sikkert få til. Skal vi se, skal vi sjekke hvor stort sånn det var hos dere. Der var det. Mm. Så jeg hadde jo sendt mail til dere, men jeg tror tydeligvis hatt feil mail. Derfor dere ikke har hørt fra meg. Ja, skal vi se. Og så der. Sånn, der. Ja, service der. Kontroll. Reducere bare større system. Nei, 40 detektorer, ja, det var ikke så stort anlegg. Ja, da burde det gå fint det da. Etter, ja, etter 12, var det det du sa? Ja, kan du skrive opp det her. Fredag klokka 12. 43. Sånn. Ja, ja, men da ses vi på. Ja. Ja, men da kan jeg bare, hvis jeg har, kan bare sende melding hvis jeg ser at jeg ikke rekker 12, så hvis jeg har plutselig får noe annet som jeg må se på, så kan jeg i hvert fall komme senere. Den er god. Ha det. I can just turn off the laptop.
Bare huka bokser. Og det gir meg noe. A lot of that is more like just from like playing Dungeons and Dragons as a game to keeping the pacing and the audio function. Because you still have to read everything. There's a lot of like rolling. What do you find? There's like a table with gold in it. You didn't really track gold closely in this campaign, and that's kind of where Bezler came from. Was because we wanted each arc and then kind of like use them for.
Which can I just say, I love the fact that you had Christian Young voicing Bensler, but always made him have like a different disguise or accent every time, so he'd have to do like something different every single time.
I would have to go to him and get lines every time I'd go, I am so sorry. How can
You're
you
French
do
now.
a French accent? Did anyone in the party ever pick up on the fact that his name was Embezzler?
Yeah.
Yeah. It was like no one ever made a joke about it or comment on it, so I was always like, they know his name's Embezzler, right?
It established the distrust towards him like immediately, and then every time we met someone who was like, I can't remember some of his other names, but like Mr. Thief or whatever, I was like, oh, it's Embezzler in disguise. And I felt bad because I completely cut the joke off at the legs sometimes. But I was like, oh, it's Embezzler. And he's like, oh, I remember another one. Like when you guys were in, also White Winter. Oh, it's like White Winter. You're playing as Spectral in his memories. Like each of you take a turn, and I don't remember how it happened, but like you could have used his like ether blades or his like boots that turn him invisible, or he can go through like walls and stuff. And like, no, they're just on the floor. It's fine. I was like, okay, that's cool. We'll explore that later.
No big deal.
Mr. LeBamf on Reddit asks, are there any Easter eggs in episodes that the fans haven't caught yet?
I'm sure they caught a lot. Like there's a lot of Brink Tusser lines, like throwaway lines that Eric would do or I would write for him, and like we just never hear those because we had so many funny lines of like just improv stuff. But I think one of my favorites was when I made Deja Herblu, and it was originally going to be like a few episodes, and each was going to be named after a part of the symphony. So like Overture is the first one, Allegro, and each town district was going to be that movement of the symphony. So like Allegro, everything speeds up in time. So that's why everything's growing so fast. You have like these giant plants that are attacking you. You have Gumbo, that's huge, and the pet apothecary. And then like Adagio, you guys go back in time to dinosaurs. Da Capo is the Ironhawk district with Chanel, the wind elemental. You keep repeating times. So things like that I would write into it. Or people's names, they would be, of course, puns or different things that would clue into their lives. Yeah.
There's a lot of really clever things that Micah does, both with wordplay and music in the show. Anytime there's a new arc, I'm always looking forward to see like how he's going to surprise the theme song for the show into like fit that arc with the character, and even the little things like with Wilhelm, he would throw like the Wilhelm scream in like the background for like most of the scene of the Wilhelm song.
I also love the Gum Gum's Wake Up Eye song. Kind of playing throughout like really touching moments with Gum Gum, and I'm like, this is making me more emotional in this moment.
I think like character themes and motifs and things are really powerful in the media, and I think he did a great job building them and then like expanding upon it, just like making them mad.
Yeah.
I think shout out to someone.
Yeah.
So there's two people that have really helped with the Reddit and the Discord, the fan discords and stuff. And it's Falsely Named and Julia Darkpress.
Yes.
Both of them have been named after people on the show, but I talked with them consistently since Falsely Named built the Reddit, and then Julia came on to help with the other stuff as well. And other people are involved too. I'm not discounting them. They built a wiki page that has lore about the whole show. There's people still writing on that stuff.
I've seen messages with people being like, who knows CSS that can edit the wiki page? The owners of the campaign, but they've been incredibly helpful. Julia Darkpress is actually who I believe organized a document with like all of the magic items you guys purchased, and was the main reason I was able to create like the item cards I gave you.
And then also the other day when D&D Beyond was down, we're like we pulled up those documents too because we didn't have any.
It's true. Yeah, those two in particular, I've seen them be very active within the Stinky community, Discord, Reddit, and all of the things. But just like everyone who's been on there and like is part of the discussion, people who post on our subreddit for the first time, I see a lot of people like waiting for them to catch up before they went on our subreddit because they didn't want to get spoiled. But it's just been so cool to see like a bunch of people starting to listen to the podcast, whether it be from the very beginning or if they found like a puppet video on TikTok, they came over to the Discord and are watching, other Rooster Teeth stuff or, other stuff that we make. So it's just like such an honor to be able to make a show that so many people love this much that they want to be involved in talking about it too, not just consuming it. I think that's like such a humbling and amazing experience as a creator to see.
It's a huge community effort, and I love talking with so before we started the show, is the fact that making serialized content, you typically have a drop off in people's attention over time. Because it's like even if you start with a big pool at the beginning, that gets smaller and smaller as time goes on as a matter of episode because people view it as an obstacle into jumping in and getting caught up where you are in the story. But we've been very fortunate to see over time the numbers actually go up as the audience grows and the podcast takes it, which we're totally grateful for. But you mentioned puppets a couple of times, and multiple people on the subreddit asked, "Did you imagine your characters looking different than what
Yeah,
they
I'm
normally
gonna
look like now?"
get a coffee or hot cocoa at the Circle K before I drive home.
Easily acted via the puppet medium.
As far as the characters and what they looked like, I don't really know what I envisioned. And then when we saw the puppets, like the puppets were based off the art that Andrew Douglas, who's a friend of the company, made. And like when I saw that, I like actually no, we also had a poster, right? That was the original thing, is that poster that we had come out of the
Stinky Dragon poster.
Andrew's artwork came out first, though.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
The
So we all
thumbnail.
had
He did some
input.
thumbnails on the
Yes.
YouTube website.
Yeah. Yes. We all had input in like when I saw what his version of my guy looked like, and I guess I didn't imagine a bronze arm, but outside of that, like I was like, yeah, no, this is perfect. This is what I imagine Kyber would be. Well, there's been instances where the community's kind of decided what they look like to a degree. Brink's a good example of that, where Brink appeared in a maybe thumbnails, but someone's fan art. God, that might be a better perspective call, but well, specifically, my mom made me a Brink toy. Like there's a Brink now will probably appear in some upcoming videos. And for reference, we used fan art because it was just like Brink wasn't a character we had fully fleshed out because it's an NPC.
He's got blue hair. I think was like all we really expected.
Yeah.
Blue hair.
Careful what your fan art looks like. We might draw inspiration from it.
It was funny though when we did get the puppet for him. I think all of us were like, he's a lot taller than I imagined. And I think it's because we all know Eric Bador, who voiced Brink Hustler, who's like just a little guy, you know, as he is self-proclaimed. So it's just funny seeing like the character that Eric voices be essentially the tallest out of all of us.
And then, am I gonna write stuff for puppets?
Yeah, more
Puppet content.
puppet-friendly encounters.
To interject, Micah doesn't exactly write these encounters how they turn out. So, like, if he to the play setting,
God damn, so
but
many
it's when he
cars.
decides to do a backflip surrounded by a bunch of amnesias
Hmm.
that we then have to figure out how
Oh,
that works out.
freeze
Not to
brought.
like lessen Micah's impact. Micah creates all the skeleton or skeletons that we are attached onto. But yeah, I don't think anybody would have thought like a zip line cord across two cliffs would make for puppet content, but we still have a video.
I think if anything, we as the cast are more mindful of like, let's really play into this moment and make it really descriptive and visual while we're explaining what we're doing or what we're seeing so that we can help turn that into a really funny moment if we do decide to use that as a puppet moment. So like now doing these puppet videos, we're not changing the way we do the show or the way we act as our character, but it's more like, let's lean into this comedic moment a little more and be visual about the way we're describing it in case we do want to turn it into a moment. But also that's just a good way to do a audio only podcast is to try to be descriptive and try to lean into those moments as much as possible. So team effort.
I did think about it when looking at new characters to make. I had some ideas. I don't know if that'd be as easy to puppet. And having spent so much time like trying to get shots and tight little maneuver arms and things, I'm like, no, I can't do that type of character. It would drive me crazy. Yeah, I think we all like that was something when we were doing character creation for the next campaign. One of the things that I wanted to make sure is I didn't like repeat another species, just because like I like how diverse the Infinites look. Like we all have our distinct sizes, silhouettes, color of skin, hair, all that stuff, and I want the same. There's just something about a ragtag band of people that's like much more fascinating than just a bunch of clones. Just the Power Rangers standing next to each other. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Does anyone have any favorite moments that stand out from the entire campaign? Or maybe something that gameplay wise, maybe you've done a little differently? That's submitted by Volantis from the
There's like small moments here and there that I really loved.
Okay, I have some hot chocolate.
My suspenders and haggling, and you guys would cringe at me snapping my actual bra straps. Was like it's always really funny to me. I just like my favorite moments was when I could make you guys laugh. So I'll think on that more, but yeah, there's just so hard to pick one favorite.
Unfortunately, some of my favorite moments were I was the only one that
Goddamn, Circle K has a good hot chocolate.
out of the window naked, having that fight. I was like, "What are you
I thought
doing?"
that was awesome.
Actually, Chris, you did jump on board. You did, and like, there's just moments like that. Like, genuinely, combat was, I think, my favorite stuff, and then my favorite social interaction was
My favorites were always like NPCs and like making friends with them, which I feel like was just very much what Gum Gum does. You know, and so it was very much fun to just like approach things from his perspective, either incredibly stupid or just incredibly like kind-hearted, where he would be friends with anyone to any degree. That was fun to play. Like the jail breakout, I feel like that section of the show was where I feel like we really started like finding our footing and really getting into the show. Like y'all embracing and going along with Gum Gum's idea to like we need an inside man. And I'm like, I have to get arrested so they will know what the jail's like. You know, it's like just like playing into that kind of stuff was just so much fun.
I know we weren't always the best at it, but I actually really liked the episodes where we had puzzles, things to like figure out in that way, or like things that were wordplay, or like whatever it was. I will say it was always a very interesting challenge to try to take notes with the way Micah writes with alliteration and like all these fancy words. Where I was like, "Can you say that a fourth time?" I got like 2 out of the 18 words in that sentence. But I always appreciated those because it's something where you gotta think a little deeper on something sometimes rather than just like a combat scene necessarily.
For what Chris said, where he liked becoming friends with other characters. My favorite moments are anytime Kybor and Sleek interacted. Anytime, like my favorite moment with Sleek, I think, is when he's eating popcorn and watching you all battle Snow Ice in the arena and recording those lines. I literally went and got popcorn and just shoveling popcorn in my mouth. Oh yeah, they're doing great. I love this.
A lot of that White Winter stuff was fun too. I like the Muds and Bart's performance for King. I think that was like a fun little moment. Yeah, that's fun.
Yeah, like that was fun to make and fun to do just because it's all those little mini games. It's the carnival basically. And like, just go play.
Is there anything in your minds that made your character truly become who they were in the end, like any big turning points? And that's sent from Full Healer on Reddit.
I knew what I wanted to do with Gum Gum, like going in, but I think what really solidified who he was the way you guys accepted him and made him feel like part of the group. There's a version where Gum Gum was dumb and we would do dumb things and it would be like, oh, it would be unnerving. But I feel like you accepting him for who he was and loving him for who he was. I really enjoyed that. I think that made his character like more loving and a better character.
I agree. The relationship between all the characters I think was really heartwarming and like really unique in each of their own relationships. For Bart though, I would have to say I think when he found out he was the quarterling at that whole moment, I thought that was really fun and like I think really solidified like his confidence in himself. He's already a very confident character, but I think at that moment it's like you are way more powerful than you think you are.
And you already think it's quite a bit.
Yeah.
I think for Kyborg, with acting like an idiot and just like a show off, there's often times where there's just dismissal and eye rolling and stuff like that, and I thrive off of that energy, and I loved that. But every now and then, when a dice roll would hit, and I was actually able to back stuff up with like performance and athleticism and stuff like that, like it's those moments of like going against the odds and just like proving something wrong, and there's like, oh, this idiot, I hate this guy. Like I love those moments, and those happened early on where I was just like constantly doing backflips, and that's like that was just the basis of my personality. It's just like against all odds, this idiot survives.
For me, the pinnacle Kyborg, the best summary of Kyborg I can think of is the fact that Kyborg, I don't think ever used the word somersault. It was always barrel rolls. It took me a lot of like, what are you talking about?
I think it's Star Fox that did it too.
Barrel roll. So, what are like important takeaways you've learned about playing D&D, and is there anything that you learned about the mechanics of the game that you'll incorporate into the next arc? That's from Daniel KS 2500.
Something that I think I want to do more of is playing D&D like the character I'm playing. So a little bit more heavily in the role play. I think, especially with Chris and Gum Gum, he had a lot of moments of like, well, Gum Gum would do this. And I think oftentimes I go, well, I feel like I wouldn't do this in this situation, but maybe Bart would. I didn't play into that as much as I think I could have. So I'm hoping with like any future campaigns we do, I could like really dive into thinking in the mindset of that character, even if it's not something me personally, Barbara, would do or agree with or think is like the right move here, but this character would. I want to.
I agree. And I think that this is the lesson that we learned from RTD&D to Stinky Dragon that I think we're going to continue to perfect into the next campaign. Is that it's way more fun when the team gets along and we see each other, we support each other, and I hope we continue to do that because it just makes our friendship and our character dynamics work that much better. And Gus and Micah, you guys just letting us play and just doing stupid stuff, like that makes this, I think, a much more enjoyable playing and listening experience.
Well, yeah, I love it because if you guys are talking and doing things, then I don't have to talk.
I mean, I learned a lot about D&D from just writing because, like, I don't know if I've ever mentioned this on the podcast, but I only learned D&D during the pandemic.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, hell.
I never knew anyway. And so I finally met people that I was living with in Australia, and they taught me. And then I eventually, like, I was in a campaign, and I started teaming my own campaign with them. But like, that's the best, way to learn something is to teach it. And so, like, when you start, that's how I found out about skill challenges from like fourth edition. I used that this campaign. I found out about the maze mechanic that you can use for labyrinths with cards and stuff. There's all kinds of things. Oh, action-oriented monsters, which is a thing from Matt Colville, who's a former writer of Critical Role, I think. So there's all kinds of things you can learn in Mix.
Yeah, I think similarly to Micah, like I played a few sessions of D&D in college, but I didn't really get into it until like a year before the release of RTD&D and stuff like that. It's mostly from listening to like audio podcasts and like live share playing these two. And this campaign has really taught me a lot about being more an audio podcast series and how it's very different from just listening to how play the game. There's a lot of issues and just making sure like how things work when you're sitting in a recording studio with everybody and you have to take time to we only have 2 hours, so we can't spend 4 hours doing combat. Yeah. So like I feel like we're really getting a good foundation under ourselves going into this next campaign to like, do some more fun storytelling.
That was one of the first things I researched was like how to do D&D in 90 minutes, like 90-minute sessions. Lunchtime D&D. Okay, here we go.
Yeah, because in the past, like when I've played campaigns, it's like, all right, we're gonna get together and we're gonna play D&D all week of like 10 hours a day for Saturday and Sunday. Like we'd spend 20 hours this week to play D&D, and it's like trying to distill that down to like a 90 to 120-minute session weekly is just like that's a lot. That's kind of crazy to distill it down like that.
Yeah, if we've ever mentioned like when I send Gus modules, we don't stick with this by any means, but it has a timeline of like here's when this generic thing will happen. Like it'll take probably 15 minutes to allot for that, and this and this and this, and it's all like broken down. So let me know like we probably have enough time, or maybe not.
The party finds a door.
What you have done is in combat. One of the characters will die. That's the show.
Like, what do you mean, like, fail to zero hit points? Or fail all 3 death saves?
All 3 death saves, like, just really bad luck rolling.
Yeah. Sure, would have just been over. Just there. No, I mean, I talked with Micah and Gus about this before, where death in D&D doesn't necessarily have to be the end of a character, right? That might have meant a drastic shift in what Micah had planned for the campaign, where now suddenly you guys are going to whatever the equivalent phase of hell is to bring Gum Gum back from like the seventh circle of that area. But it's just like a change in story as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, we wanted to lean into that if that happened. So if someone like rolled, death saves and just got a 1, like immediately died, let that be the dramatic moment and plan out the next thing. What's the next thing? Like what would the rest of the characters, how would they react to that? And kind of anticipate what the story takes from there. Because that is a moment, and we don't want to just wash over that, and say, "Oh, they died. Let's move on." Oh, another character.
My first D&D character ever. We were playing AD&D, which is first edition, and it was a rogue who fell into a pit with an ice worm. The party refused to go in and save me. The ice worm ate me, and the party just left. I was like, wow,
What a great
thanks
idea.
guys. Like, I got my stuff together and left the session. Like, oh, I'm dead. Oh, they're not coming back. Oh, okay.
Wow.
That's it. Okay. Bye.
Because we would never leave you.
How long had you been playing that character? Oh, it wasn't very long. It was a couple of months, but it was like my first campaign, and it was like, oh, D&D's kind of tough. D&D's kind of sucks sometimes.
I'm glad Gus had to go through these experiences so that we didn't have to. Instead of all this trauma from past D&D campaigns. I don't want that life for my kids.
Gus, did you ever win D&D though? Have you ever done that yet? Win
D&D?
Yeah, have you won D&D?
I've definitely had a character I took from like level 1 to level 25 over the course of like a decade of playing, and that I consider is probably the closest to winning D&D. Where it's just like I started with a D6 hit die, and then by the end it's like hundreds of hit points. And interestingly enough, that character was an arcane archer, so I was kind of familiar with what you were doing with Tybor. And I had like the seeking arrow and all of that stuff. And like after a while, you get to the point where it's like it becomes not fun. It's like everything I shoot is gonna hit. Like unless at this point the escalation has become we are fighting literal gods in the deities and demigods book. It's like there's nothing that's a challenge anymore.
Yeah. So that's why Kugakor was Gus's favorite.
We finally franchised the show decades down the line, and we finally decided to spin down like the stories. The final campaign is going to be Gus's level 25 character against just the 4. Gus versus actually you guys.
Yeah, that character would have like one turn and everyone would have been dead and there would have been actions left over. Like it's just ridiculous at that point. I want to start trying to pivot some of these questions and segue them into talking about next steps and what we're going to be going to with Tales from the Stinky Dragon. So from Twitter, Chronomag51 asks, does this mean all new characters and a new storyline? If it's a new start, will we have the same people playing their characters, or will be leaving or joining?
Same cast, same dungeon master. What's the same dungeon time? Same dungeon time.
Well, we should also specify that's for the next big campaign we're doing. But in between the end of this one, the Infinite campaign, and the start of the next campaign, we have a mini campaign which Chris Damaris will be DMing, and Gus will be playing a character with us for those few episodes. So that's going to be a mini thing that happens in between, that we're also really excited to do and nervous to see how that plays out.
Yeah, and we just made characters for that this morning.
And we did, yes. So that should be really fun. But yeah, same cast doing the next campaign, Gus DMing, Mike and Ben working their magic behind the scenes.
How much of that do you guys want to reveal about the new campaign?
Nothing right now.
No, nothing yet.
There's a new campaign. Mike just
I
left.
just want to find her place on this campaign and just change names. As far as teasing, I would say, yeah, like it's kind of what Duncan mentions at the end of the finale, that this new story, this new tale that he tells is going to be a bit darker and a bit focused on creatures and, dare I say, monsters. And I don't think it's a mystery to say that it will be mysterious. And yeah, there's not a lot I want to tell, but I do want to say like there will be some fun new things that we're trying with this campaign that we didn't do with the last one that I think will be fun to explore as characters.
Before going home, I'm gonna stop by the
This won't be phases, it'll be somewhere different.
scrapyard, I guess. Gonna throw away some trash.
Ooh, I didn't consider that.
Just as many puns.
Someone posted on Reddit. I won't name names. I don't remember the name either. It was like, is there going to be an ungodly amount of puns in the next one, or is it just going to be bearable? Only one way to find out.
It'll be pun bearable. We'll see.
I'm really excited to see what Micah does with music in the next campaign, especially because with this one, in the nature of how the show spun up, the theme song for the Infinite campaign was done by someone else that we had hired, Cole McGinnis. He's done stuff with like Critical Role, he's done stuff with like doing some really cool champion themes now. Very incredible, very talented. I think Micah took that first like intro theme that we had done for Sticky Dragon, and you ran with it as far as you could and knocked it out of the park. So I'm very excited to see like what the next campaign theme is going to sound like and what you do with this going forward.
Also, like the intro song's gonna be different.
Yeah, I'm also excited for John and Mike's mom to inevitably make us new little puppet characters of our new characters. Because until then, I guess like this is the only thing I can update on because like me and Chris work on the puppets, but like we're gonna continue to make infinite puppet videos with like our original crew up until like we have enough stuff into the new campaign accrued and new puppets to
Maybe we'll
make
do
those
both
guys.
simultaneously.
Yeah, who's to say?
Some weeks with the old campaign, some weeks with the new campaign if things pop up.
What if she makes puppets of you guys in real life, and you play out you playing D&D as you? I'm just literally just thinking about how I wanted to include miniatures to the scale of the miniature puppets. So like maybe one of them is making puppets in a shot, and then we have even tinier felt puppets.
It's puppets all the way down.
Puppets all the way down. There's a South Park episode about them doing paper animation.
Is there?
Yeah, they're like doing the same animation of the original style of that show before it became digital. And they in the episode like express their exacerbation of how difficult and dumb that style of animation is.
So you mentioned about at the end of the Infinite campaign how Duncan kind of teases what's up next. And there's actually a question from Brisby on Reddit asking, have you considered a new voice for the bartender for the next campaign? Like there's a shift change for the bartenders. And I think that's a funny question because we talked about that for a long time. Because Tales from the Stinky Dragon is supposed to be multiple different stories, like stories told at a bar called the Stinky Dragon. And it's been one of the things that we wanted to do for a long time. So we weren't sure, like, are we going to actually do it? Are we not? Does that need to carry through, or can you swap it out at any given point? Is there anything you want to say about that, Micah?
Yeah, we could say like Duncan's gonna probably tell the next one, and he's gonna use his like spooky voice that he's been working on behind the scenes. I think it'll fit the tone of this next story. Can I ask, like, canonically, you're not gonna be able to tell me? Because if it's a different land and it's not Phasa, is it like different planet or a different continent? Is it different timeline, different universe? I'm so like, or am I just gonna have to find out? I have to find out. Okay, fine.
That's called not wanting to write yourself into a corner.
True. Like, subscribe. Subscribe. I'm noticing you're doing a lot of the things where it's like, oh, what's next for this? And be like, it's in development. And that was always my way of saying, I have no clue.
Well, as far as the players, is there anything we can talk about? Like new characters, races, classes, personalities?
I'll use some things that I'm doing for my character. That's
Same.
okay.
No, bleep all this out. Bleep it all out.
Hallo?
Barb, you keep talking about it.
Hei. Jeg fant ut av det. Det var en adresse, den derre OMT24. Der var det Schneider-anlegg. Så der måtte vi bare bytte, men det var 28 som jeg kunne ta også. Så jeg skal ta den i morgen. Men jeg kan kanskje skrive om på ticketen at den er 18 og 28 som gjelder foreløpig i hvert fall. Ja. Nei, den er god. Ja, ha det.
The only tease I'll give is John Candy with John Wick. So it's very different, but also not that different. So those language like exist, but I feel like in a lot of ways, seems it's gonna be a child. Like a child that that's easy to find. Different voice, and will have a different accent that I'm going to try to challenge myself to do. Something that I tried to bring with Mo was part of the backstory. I'll say this. Sanderson's and I
actually have a link in the backstory of this person, and I'm supposed to look that as a Micah. So you're the last person to so, we might choice early on. I don't think explicit about it, but I found that growing up, there wasn't enough like overtly clear representation.
Right.
And so I wanted my to play that, and so I noticed that there was a very nice presentation of and stuff, and I have stuff like these stories that mean a lot to me, so I always had a connection with them, so I wanted to play that as a piece, which is why I do this small thing. Love doesn't really like mostly romantic, and so I can explore that. And so my perspective, I wanted to include as well. So I also wanted to mix up like since this boys played last time. So my character is going to be playing. So I'll say that.
Can't wait to hear everyone talk.
Yes.
A little taste of John's next accent and character. You're gonna knock that apart, but put it this way.
And the last question I have here, I think everyone wants to know how long do we have to wait for the next campaign to start?
So today, the year of 2023, the plan is that the new campaign will be I'll make sure to say it, and that's it.
Mm. I'm just gonna fix something.
Things can happen. Access can shut down again. It doesn't always. Yes,
Also, the next episode of the story is next week. Yeah, so the new mini story will be just next week. It'll start next week. So, yeah. Is there anything you want to tee up about that story, Chris?
Yeah, it takes place in Phasa. I wanted to like kind of bridge the campaigns or the story. So there'll be new characters, different time period, but still in the same world. So there'll be some things that might be familiar, but also entirely new to kind of transition into the new campaign. And we have 4 characters, Gus being one of them. The main thing I told them when making their characters was like take characters who are the traditional adventurers. And I think they have some really fun characters and backstories that are to throw into an adventure.
So we'll have this intermediate campaign run by Chris. This will go for 5 weeks to kind of bridge the gap between major campaigns. And we're back late April/early May for the new campaign with the regular folks. You said it for Michael.
So now's a great time to get your friends to listen to the podcast. It's a great starting point for everybody new.
Thank you all so much for taking a chance on our show. It's a lot to be part of like a long narrative podcast and to kind of be with us for the entire story, but we really appreciate everyone's love and enthusiasm for the show because we love making it. So it's been an honor.
Yeah, you guys are our bra. You support us no matter what. You're all a bunch of bras. Oh, third blessing.
seeing everyone react to it and seeing people online respond to it. Like, that's the third blessing. I think.
Three blessing shows.
Third blessing.
Blessing sandwich.
Yeah. If anybody listening to the show happens to have like a super famous celebrity parent that wants to do voice acting for our show, you let us know, okay?
Well, thanks for listening, everybody. We'll see you guys here real soon next week.
See you in 37 years.
Bye. Thanks for listening to our Behind the Cast episode. Next week, we're going to be starting our 5-episode mini adventure, DFY Customers, and after that, we'll be diving right into our next full-length campaign with the original pack. So, thanks again for listening, and remember, stay stinky.
Taavi, ei saa koskaan kuuseen. Ei kosketa. Tänne, tuu tänne nyt. Tänne. Ei.
Voi kultaa.
Ole valmiina elämän yllätyksiin Rustan laajan jouluvalikoiman avulla. Rusta niin paljon, niin vähän.
Dungeons and Daddies is a rowdy, horny, violent podcast for
The hell? Why does it start with episode 39, season 3? Stupid program. Okay, let's see, which episode should we listen to now? Guess this one. Download, and download.
If you like mythology, folklore, and urban legends, I have a great podcast for you. Spirits is a boozy dive into everything from ancient Greek mythology to modern stories about the occult, where my BFF Julia and I pour a drink and learn a new story from somewhere around the world. We look at all these stories from the lens of feminism, queerness, and modern adulthood. And as big nerds, we also go behind books, movies, and television shows and the mythologies behind them. The best part is you can dive in with any of the over 400 episodes we've published. Subscribe to Spirits now in your podcast app or go to spiritspodcast.com. You keep that in.
Hello to the audience. Hey there, friend. Yeah, you. Yeah, you're my friend. And friends buy each other drinks, right? Yeah, I'll take a rat flip float. Easy on the rat flip. Oh, thank you, friend. How about I return the favor with a drink for your balls? You ever heard the story of the chosen one? Eh? That's a good one. Worth at least 5 rat feet floats. Now settle down. Get comfy. This is Stinky Dragon after all. And I've got a tale for you. Welcome to Tales and Stinky Dragon. I'm Chris, how are you? Chris Diamaris, and I will be guiding the story for the next 5 episodes.
So mini campaign.
But I will not be telling it. The 4 of you will be telling it. He's actually talking to you, the audience, if you're listening to people right now. Everyone say who you are. Say hi. I'm John Reisinger. I'm Blake Gibson. I'm Gustavo Sorolla.
And he's playing with
And
us
I'm
this
playing.
time. I'm Barbara Dunkel.
I'm gonna derail. I'm gonna Chris this up.
Oh gosh. The ultimate revenge.
And for any new listeners who might be joining, if you're new to D&D, it's really easy. My friends will each be playing a character with unique skills and abilities based on what they want to do in this world. I'll occasionally ask them to make a skill check. They roll the dice, and what happens next depends on what they roll. Generally, the higher roll, the better. That's all you need to know to get started as far as D&D goes. But the rest of it's just fun storytelling. Yeah.
I'm so excited.
Good.
Yeah.
I'm excited to be on this side of the screen. It's like, only one browser window open.
But don't worry, you'll be back together after this mini campaign. So that's a big campaign.
Well, so for sure, it's done. For sure.
I can't do this. I can't do this.